This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Let's talk about some news and notes as we head into this show. According to an item in this week's Ross Report, it appears that Shawn Michaels will wrestle at least one more match in the WWF and return as a regular television character. There's basically nothing new to the story that hasn't already been reported, other than Vince made the final decision to use Michaels. Michaels, whose contract expires this summer, was wanting to be used both because he's a performer and he's been on the sidelines, and physically no doubt is feeling better than he has been out of the ring for 2 years at this point, and he's allowed his knee injuries to heal up. In fact, he did one match last year for his own TWA promotion in San Antonio. There were obvious issues of using him in the WWF, which were basically the reasons he'd been off TV for so long. Michaels, who turns 36 this summer, is claiming to have grown up, and at that age probably also realizes he does have a chance to come back, but this is it. According to the report, Michaels will be returning as a regular television character and wrestle at least one match. No decisions about anything else will be made until they see how his back holds up after the match and to see if his attitude is what he says it is. His doctor after surgery strongly advised him against ever wrestling again, which is different from Steve Austin's doctor, who was cautious, but throughout the ordeal was very positive about Austin returning. As it turned out, most are impressed with how well Austin has come back. Originally, the feeling was that Austin would work pay-per-views and only major shows when he came back, and the feeling was he'd probably only be able to work a few months, building a big farewell at WrestleMania. As it turned out, he's working a full-time schedule, and while saying he's better than ever wouldn't be accurate, he's had very good matches, and there's no indication his career is in jeopardy anytime soon. So let's take a time out here. We're talking about this Shawn Michaels return like it's imminent, but it doesn't actually happen until the following year. What do you remember about 2001 here, and Vince saying, we want to bring him back, and Shawn saying, I want to come back, but for whatever reason, it doesn't happen for a whole nother year?
Well, as we've talked about here, I've made several trips to San Antonio to talk to Shawn and his then manager and lawyer, Skip. God damn, I can't remember Skip's last name. What a nice man, though. He's a really good guy. So, my pitch to Shawn was always that you can't allow your legacy to end this way.
Right.
You have put a bad taste in people's mouth, whether inadvertently or premeditatedly, I don't know. And I don't really care. But right now, the perception of you is not so positive. And for a guy that's considered to be, along with Ric Flair, the two greatest in-ring performers of all time, that's just not right.
Right.
It's not right for you. It's not right for your fans. It's not right for anything. So I said, so the bottom line is for me is that I just want to get you back in the fold. I said, you can be, if you maintain the attitude that I'm seeing now, you can be a great help to, much like he's doing now at NXT. You can be an influence. He's an influencer, Conrad. I mean, he's a boyhood hero for all these cats, these kids. Shawn Michaels is helping me with my match, blah, blah, blah. I said, you can be a big benefit without ever taking a bump. But you could tell by the twinkle in his eye, he loved that challenge, so to speak. He wanted to give back, and he wanted to change his image and the perception that he had acquired. But there's no doubt that he wanted to be back in the ring. He had the ego, which is great. Ego's not a bad thing. He had the confidence and the ego that he wanted to go back and prove that I can still do this. And I said this when he came back a year later. He didn't miss a step.
Right.
He was the best guy we had on the roster as far as working bell to bell as anybody. He was as good as anybody we had after being dormant for all those months and years. So it took a while to get to past that, the physical obstacles, the medical issues, the psychological issues, and all those things. But I knew, and Vince and I talked about this, we just got to remain diligent,
right,
and give him time and have the patience for this to become his idea. I'm ready. And of course, we saw how that worked out when he came back. He's the only guy that made brown tights famous. Right? That ugly brown outfit and that Dutch boy haircut. But he was as good as I ever. Night one, right back where he was.
Right.
So it speaks to how great he is and he was. But that year, the year between years, the next year, that year waiting was, I don't want to say dicey. It was just, we were all getting impatient because we needed him back. We wanted to see him back, and him on the card made every card better.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.